All right, guys.
I
Me and Quince will judge, okay?
Yes.
no.
All right, nice one, bro.
Yeah, like,
My judge can
This
be
is more.
Archie if he's on.
Wait. This is more realism, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, Eric, how much time do you have, right? Like, surely you could listen to what they're saying if it's not like 2 hours and then like give an opinion at the end.
Wait, Eric.
No, I'm not agreeing to Eric, bro.
Why?
Why?
I have history with the guy, but just go into side chat.
Yeah, shut up, man.
Bro, he's talking about Eric like he's a rival or something. He said,
Yeah. Anyways, Archie, can you judge?
If it takes similar normative
Thanks,
strength to believe in moral propositions as facts about the world, then moral propositions are also going to exist under. When you say normative strength, what do you mean?
No, I'm gonna say like a motivational property. If it takes the same like shouldn't to believe like that thing is true, as this statement like moon exists. So basically, what I mean, it's not like that to believe the killing is bad, but rather to believe the killing is bad is true, and that's what I mean to clarify.
Wait, what?
But, yeah.
Okay, hold on. So wait, if I'm just a subjectivist and I say that whenever I say killing is bad, all I mean is just that it is true that I have preferences against killing. I'm confused. How does that lend credence?
Yeah,
or how does
that attack the argument?
Hold on. Wait, hold on. I'm confused. How does that what's the motivation as to why that requires any lesser amount of motivational force to convince me of that in comparison to convincing me of a stance and panda fact?
Yeah, so you didn't track what I said. So what I said was, when you're saying moon exists is true, when let's just say I ask a 5-year-old and a 65-year-old, doesn't matter, from any age to, that doesn't matter, just what they can answer my question. Is it true that killing is bad? They tell me, well, obviously it is true. But then when you ask them, wait, is it also true that moon exists? They're gonna go, well, obviously, duh. They're gonna give you the same answer for both, like they're trivially true. They give you the similar or even same normative strength for them being true.
Hold on, and if I ask them, if you like ice cream, they give me the same answer.
Wait, hold on.
If it was like they have strong preferences towards
do you just talk whenever like you find the opportunity to fight
your bro. Just lock in.
Opponent? Yeah, I'm stuttering at your stupidity, obviously. I'm stuttering because what you're doing right now is finding an imaginary opponent. Maybe you're fighting C right now. C, is he fighting you? He isn't fighting me.
Yeah, okay. Thank you for the rhetoric. Anyways, give the response. Like, obviously,
no,
somebody had
fighting? No, I'm not even rhetoricking. Who are you fighting? You're not fighting me.
Like extremely strong preferences towards any given
Why are you talking to yourself?
Say, for example, say I like ice cream. And
why are you talking to yourself?
Do I like ice cream? And then they say, oh yeah, well, obviously I like ice cream. Like, they'll give you the same sort of response as they will if you say,
why are you talking to yourself? I wasn't done engaging with the point.
I don't understand what sort of motivation you're giving for yourself.
Wait, have you finally become schizo? Like, who are you talking to? Why are you speaking to yourself? You're
definitely not talking to me.
No, you didn't. And by the way, I haven't given you the response either. So we are not going to do that. Right? So to engage with your first point, yeah, because you didn't understand what I was saying.
Wait, so you're engaging with something that isn't a response?
No, because you misunderstood my point.
So wait. So when you say
you misunderstood my point, that's what I was clarifying.
I
was engaging with you misunderstanding my point.
Okay, wait, hold on. So I'm not making a point. I'm giving you
I'll just look at you and I'll talk over you because that's the only thing that I can do because you cannot stop talking, right? So what we're gonna do, right? So this is the reason why you didn't want to debate me. Obviously, you cannot debate me. Like I thought you were gonna be good after losing to Archie like 3 times in Infinity. I'm definitely stupid, man. But let's just do this. Right? What I was engaging with was you misunderstanding my point. But to engage with the point that you made, if you want to say that it's something really alongside some preference, like let's just say you say killing is bad because it's in reference to my preference or something like that, and I say, well, maybe, but then you would also have to account for like moon existing being true, having the same motivational strength as that. So if you say that the motivational strength you get for killing is bad is you having some preference, then I want you to explain how that can lead to the same motivation you would have for moon exists. Yeah, but you cannot also, obviously you cannot give that. So do you want to engage with the point? Now, do you want me to engage with the other point because you realize you cannot engage with what I said right now?
Okay, yeah, thank you for the monologue, dude. So I'm just going to ask you the question now, and you're going to respond immediately. So look, What is the argument as to why
You
whenever
just
I
don't have the
ask
argument
people
against it, do
about
you?
the preferences, but hold on, what is the argument as to why whenever I ask people about their preferences, right, that the responses they give or truth claims they make about their preferences, what's the argument as to why there's a disparity in terms of motivational force whenever I'm asking them about their preferences and whenever I'm asking them about a stance independent fact? For your argument to work, you need to assume that there's some disparity between the two. But you can't give an actual argument for it. If killing
because
is wrong, it's just a
wait, you asked me a question,
byproduct or
didn't
it's
you?
just me
Wait,
expressing
why
my
did you ask me a
emotions.
question and
But
go
the
in a
reason
monologue?
why I have such strong
Why are you
emotions
talking to
about
yourself?
it
Okay, I'll
is
just talk
because
over
I've
you.
evolved to
Right?
feel that way.
So,
Then trivially
wait,
we'll
just
give
for a
them the same
second.
sort of responses because
Real quick,
that's how
wait,
we've
Archie, didn't he
evolved.
ask me a
That
question?
doesn't point
Or am I
towards
wait,
some
tripping?
stance
wait,
independent
just for a
fact.
second,
All
just
that
for a
points
second.
toward is just that I have extremely strong
Sandra!
preferences.
Okay, listen,
Thank
dude,
God.
I don't know if you have me local muted. Wait, no, because I want to hear his point, right? I heard, like, when you asked, like, what is the argument for why whenever I ask people about the preferences, the responses are usually truthful claims about the preferences, and then after that, I didn't hear. I was just asking you if you could re-clarify, please, so I could try.
But he asked me a
Are you
question
talking
and
to
went on
me
a
or him?
monologue, but anyways.
Well, you. I was talking to you because I didn't fully hear what you had said after that.
Okay, yeah. So I was just looking for one, the argument as to why there's a disparity between, in terms of like motivational force between truth claims made about things you have preferences towards and truth claims about stance independent objects for one. And then two, I was explaining to the guy how like trivially people can have strong sort of emotions or be like immensely motivated to do specific things which align with their preferences because of the way they've evolved. Right. It doesn't have to be specifically because of like some stance independent factor pointing towards. Like I could be motivated to fight someone for thinking Ronaldo's better than Messi, even though there's no stance independent fact that points towards it.
Okay, so number one, you're dumb as shit. Number two,
Cheers for that.
Yeah, cheers for that. No, I'm just stating a fact. I'm really not
You
trying
just
to
repeated what I said, bro.
tell you the
Lock
rhetoric.
in,
So,
move, man.
lock in. Yeah, this is the reason why you cannot even debate me.
Man.
Like, the problem is with you is that you cannot engage with what I said. And even after 2 times of clarifying it, you still cannot engage with the point that I made. Do you know why? Because you went on a straw man.
Yeah. Thank you for the
with
psychological analysis,
Obviously,
bro. Oh my God.
when you engage with the straw man, it's going to look worse for me. But obviously, this is not going to be the case with what you were talking about, right? So what you said was, yeah, cheers. Is that all you can say, or are you a robot?
That isn't how you pronounce the word, by the way. That's how you pronounce the word. That's not how you pronounce the word.
But anyways, right?
Fake laugh.
So
fake
number
laugh.
one,
Fake laugh. Fake laugh. Fake laugh. Fake
can
laugh.
somebody mute the monkey or something? No.
Cope laugh. You're not tracking.
It is a rule of the server to have moderation. Is that what you guys are calling it now? Just to
Shinra, don't agree.
No, I'm not agreeing. Go
well,
on.
I mean, it has to be moderation. Like if you know.
No, just mute him. Just mute him. I'm done for that.
Suck Ziki, read that room.
Hey, bro. See, like you said, it article what again?
No,
it has to be. It's been called upon. Bro. Listen,
Sentence.
I'm sorry. I apologize, bro.
Wait, can you mute the guy? Thank you. So now that he's done with the ramble, basically, again, I'll repeat to you what I said for the second time, and then you realize how your point falls apart. What you were engaging with was the thing which, in my opinion, makes killing bad is something which is in alignment with my preference. That is not going to be the same thing for moon exist. Again, I wasn't referring to that. I was in reference when you say, killing is bad. Is that statement true or false? Right? And if you were to ask, is that statement true? They would give you the same answer as like, is moon existent true? Right? They give you the same trivial answer. But why is that? You said it's alignment with preference, but that is obviously not going to be the case. When you talk about the why does moon exist, or not even why does moon exist, but like, is moon existing true? It's not going to be obviously something which is alignment with their preference. So that point is obviously dog shit. But even when you say something like, okay, well, for this case, it doesn't have to beat that. And you gave the example with like the ice cream, so why can't I beat that? Well, obviously, when you say something like chocolate ice cream is better than vanilla ice cream, or Ronaldo is better than Messi, W take, by the way, but when you say some bullshit like that, and you ask them, is that true? They're going to tell, well, in my opinion, it's probably true, or in the way that I view it is going to be true via these and these reasons. But if you were to ask them, like, wait, do you think that Ronaldo is better than Messi? Is that true? They're going to tell you, well, in my opinion, yeah, and they will give you thousands of reasons why that's true, because that is not a fact. But if you were to ask them, does moon exist? They will tell you, well, duh, but why is that? But even if you weren't referring to that, let's just steelman the position, and you said some like, let's just take like any Gnostic fact. I think that's what they're called. Like eating pizza, right, is better than eating shit or some shit like that. That would tell you the same answer. Well, the problem with that is when you're making a claim like that, which also has mass convergence, on the first glance, I'm so sad that I have to teach you probability right now, but I'll still teach you, right? So when you have a convergence on a set certain claim, right, the probability, or the likelihood, to be precise, rises, right? So when you're making a probability claim, or like you're trying to calculate posterior probability, the thing which you're trying to calculate when you have more evidences is that you add them onto other, because you have, right, more evidences, and that rises the likelihood, right? So convergence is gonna work when it comes to that, but the reason why you don't eating pizza is better than eating shit is because you have more content, which rises the explanatory power for that not to be the case. So even if on the first glance you have more probability for that hypothesis, it is just true that that's something, right, doesn't or isn't revolved around some stance-independent domain in a way which would say that it is true. But when it comes to the thing which I was talking about, right, you haven't given me any motivation to believe that that's not going to be the case. You haven't given me more data. You haven't given me anything. So yeah, obviously, if I have like 98% of people obviously going to rise that probability. The same thing is here. But let's just say I somehow some way grant that you had some explanatory power here just to even stillman your position even more, because obviously you cannot engage with me. The thing which you're trying to say is that moon existing being true to you is the same as somebody telling you eating ice cream or eating ice cream is good. That statement is also true, right? So in your view, that's what you're saying to me, right? But that's not what I'm saying. When I'm saying something like killing is bad, right, that's something that motivates you to think that is true. In the view which I'm taking, given some, I'll even send the studies for it, is also the type of thing which makes you say that moon existing is also true. Those two things are going to be true, not just given the way the world is, but is also true given the empirical evidence, right? Which I'll send if you really want me to send to you, because obviously, and if you're still confused, I'll just have to explain more normative strength to you, because obviously you're confused on that as well, right? So your points are just dog shit. You're just so ass.
Oh my god! It only works when it's me because I'm funnier than you. But look, I don't know why you like started teaching me better ethics 101. But there's a whole bunch of empirical claims you made. You're like, oh yeah, well, if you ask them about ice cream better than chocolate, they go say, oh, it's my opinion. Prove that. Oh, well, if they ask them, well, is Ronaldo better than Messi? Just go say, oh yeah, he's better in my opinion. I'm not gonna say he's just actually better. Prove that. That's just a whole bunch of empirical claims you made without even the slightest sliver of evidence, because you're a slimy, slithering sophist who can't justify a single
He's lying,
claim
by the
you're
way. He's
making.
lying.
Yeah, okay. The slimy, slithering sophist who can't justify a single claim they're making because they can't track or follow the debate or the discourse that's going on, for one. Also, two, I'm wondering, when you say that, okay, well, since people have loads of convergence on pizza being better than shit, that's the reason why they'll make such bold claims on it like they do for morality or for like the moon existing, even though there's no stance-independent fact. Why doesn't that sort of why doesn't that sort of critique apply to your moral view? Why can't I just say, oh yeah, well, because we've evolved to socially outcast people who show certain traits such as like wanting to kill people, which is why we put them in prison, because we've evolved that way and there's mass convergence on it. That's why we express opinions on it with such confidence, instead of it being reporting some stance-independent facts. So I'm going to need some answers to those questions, and then I'm going to need the studies, and then you might just really, really, really need to free the goat to win this debate.
Okay, I was about to attack the rhetoric, but you said you might need to free to go for that, so I'll let it slide. She was funny. I can't even lie. But yeah, just go on mute, buddy. getting more than that, bro. Go mute. Thanks. Good little boy. But now, what I was saying, right, was obviously you haven't even tracked the explanation I gave you for the posterior probability. I'll send you to maybe that's how you learn. Maybe you're like a visual learner or something. I'll still send you how it can actually like give you the likelihood and how it actually like raises the probability. So I'll still send you that as well, because obviously you're not even educated on anything. You're not educated on Bayesian theory of probability. You're not even educated on any theory of probability, to be precise, as that for that matter. But right, I'll still send you that. Maybe you're a visual learner or something. I just need to find you something. Might need official for this one, man. But yeah, so to send it in chat for everybody as well. This is right, bro. What the fuck is with? Wait, give me a sec. Why can I not send this shit? Wait, hold on. Give me a sec.
Bro, Shinra, you're losing right now. Come on.
Alright. So I'll just send this because I really. Wait, can you all see it? Can you look in general? Do you all see it?
Oh, fucking wait.
Wait. Oh, okay. Y'all can see it. I see the reactions and shit. But yeah, so. And I'll even send this so it is even more clear to you, because obviously you still don't understand it probably after this as well. But, okay, so here, boom, right? So when you're talking about posterior probability, you see this P of E of H, which is called the hypothesis fits the data, or the likelihood. That's something, right, rises the more evidence you have for the certain hypotheses, right? And that's something. Wait, what the fuck? So that's something is gonna rise the more evidence you have. So let's just say you have 3 evidence for one hypothesis, but you have 6 pieces of evidence for the other hypothesis. The one with 6 amount of evidence, that likelihood is going to rise, right? When you have bro, what is this nigga sending, bro? I'm just not looking, chat, bro. Motherfuckers are sending bullshit. But when you have 6 amount of evidence, the likelihood just rises, right? The thing you see, that's something rises. Just so we are perfectly even more clear, right? And now let's human the position, right? And say, well, I'm questioning right now the evidence, and I'm not actually like questioning the likelihood or how that rises probability, because I'm giving you really big benefit of the doubt here. But let's just say you're doing that. Well, obviously, like when you have mass convergence and you're trying to tell me whether this evidence is reliable, that is on you to disprove. Like, this is clearly a burden shift, right? For all claims, right? When you have a claim which is mass converged upon, right? Mass converged upon, that certain claim is going to be more likely to be true, or the most likely to be true, unless there is more evidence presented, right? So it's on you to give your position more explanatory power. But even then, let's just say you gave something which rises that, right? And we talked about the pizza example, right? Well, even the pizza example on the first glance is more probable, right? It still has more likelihood, but because we have more relevant data that explains it to be different, that's why we don't say that's an objective fact or a fact that exists under a stance-independent domain, right? So that is 1. 2, the thing which you're questioning right now is, how do I get to the normative strength? Well, obviously I get to a normative strength through the first glance view when I look at these 2 things, right? So you're saying I need empirical claims for like these things and how that leads to that. Although I send the argument, I'll send the empirical evidence as well, right? So the empirical evidence, which I'll just need to go here. We have this one from 2000. I think this one is from 2005. I'll send it in side chat, so it doesn't be that, because motherfuckers are flooding the general. This is one, I think, from 2005, and this is one from 2008, right? those prove to how people get to set normative force to feel these for feeling of these things being true. When you ask them, is killing, or sorry, does moon exist? Does moon exist, or is moon existing? Is that statement true, right? And they will tell you, well, obviously. But when you tell them the same thing, where, well, is killing bad? Is that statement also true, right? They're obviously going to tell you the same thing, like, duh, obviously. They feel the same thing. They don't feel it for the ice cream case. You have to prove that. You have to prove that. And I'm pressing you to prove that. Like, after we're done with this, you're proving that shit. And when we're done, right, with that, you said something about Messi being better than Ronaldo or some shit, and you're saying, well, that's gonna be something which is, in my opinion, obviously they're gonna say that. No sane person will tell you, and if you want the empirical evidence for that, I'll literally send you all the disagreements and all of everything that has been going on there, and all the empirical state if you want, but there is not a single person that I know that would tell Ronaldo being better than Messi is a stance independent fact. Nobody has that intuition. I want you to prove that with all your heart, right? There's a reason why people feel that way, by the way. There's clearly a reason, but you just don't want to accept it. You don't want to accept the reasons for normative strength. You don't want to accept the reasons to why a certain thing is true or why a certain thing is the case at all, right? You don't want to accept those reasons. Instead, you're this guy who just runs from every position that he thinks needs even a little bit of justification, right? So there's a reason. Again, I am glad you brought up ice cream being better than chocolate, right? Because people don't feel the same normative strength for that being true the same way that they feel for moon existing being true, or for killing is bad being true. There is a reason why people feel this that way, and under your hypothesis of a subjectivist, I really, really need you to prove that it will be expected better under that hypothesis when I quite literally given you first glance higher probability, and even when we explored the data I gave you higher probability. You just suck. You genuinely just suck. After this, right, hopefully people are gonna realize that you cannot track and engage for shit. Holy shit, this guy is confused.
Yo, I ain't gonna lie, free bro. Like, that was tough, bro. Like, don't let him bring you down, bro. Keep going, bro.
He spoke for 7 minutes straight. That's how for you too.
Very rhetorical game. Just get to the point, bro. Just get to the point. Get it.
Okay. I'm sorry, big bro. Look, so when you said more convergence, that was really tough, like I'm struggling to respond to that, but I'm just gonna ask you a few questions. One, when you said that, like, what's it called? There's evidence that accounts for why there's more convergence on pizza being better than shit. But this evidence also explains why it isn't a stance independent fact. Please show me this evidence. But two, for all of the other claims you made saying that, oh yeah, people won't tell you that Ronaldo is mind independently better than Messi. I'm not sure if people tell you that about morality either. So you need to prove that too. But you're saying that they have different levels of force. I'm just unclear how you'd be able to calculate that. Whenever you say motivation, that isn't speaking to how firmly you're able to hold the stance specifically. Whenever I take somebody saying, oh yeah, you have motivational force about morality being stance independently true, I feel as if that would also have to do with action being action guiding in a certain sense. I don't think there's any evidence that people actually guide their actions in accordance to there being some stance independent, mind independent moral fact. In fact, most people are actually religious and base their morality off of religious or off of religion. And I think that if you asked most people, would morality exist if God said it didn't, they'd say no. So in fact, they do believe that is dependent on God's stances, is right. That's just an example. But again, I'm just unclear where you're getting all of these empirics from. Also, you said you were going to send me evidence, and if the VC can check general, you just sent me a paper. Right now, I don't know if you take papers to be evidence, but look, I'm just going to respond with some evidence of my own. Right? Give me a second. Yeah. So if you direct your eyes at general, if you read this, you'll be able to respond to my argument properly. Right? Because all of the empirics for my claim are within that book, right? That serves as the empirics. Now we're going to also traverse and actually see this other thing you sent. And the only other thing you sent was a 28-page paper on the psychology of meta-ethics exploring objectivism. Now, I don't know if you think sending people papers counts as evidence. I don't know why I'd grant that, but I'm just going to respond to that. I also have another paper. This was actually written by C. So hopefully you're able to track this. Now just check general. Oh shit, I don't have Nitro, so I can't send that. Give me a second. Oh, okay. There we go. Ethics and Anthology. Ethics and Anthology, PDF. Now if you look at this actually has all of the evidence that disproves moral realism. Now, all you need to do is just read through how many pages a day? All you just need to do is read through the 812 pages, and then you'll be able to figure out the evidence. Right. But yeah, you can just read those papers, and once you're done reading those papers, we can continue with the day. I don't think you're able to actually respond to my argument, and in fact, I'd like to ask Archie, the moderator, for him to actually read the paper and engage with the evidence within the paper before he actually gives his response.
Well, I'm not going to ask him to read the entire PDF. There's for what I'm looking at about over 800 pages.
No,
but
John.
What I will ask
bias.
I will ask him to respond to the evidence appropriately and directly address Shinra's point, though.
Yeah, I'll do that. No. He asked me the question. I answered 3 times. What the hell? Like, wait. No. Wait. You asked me why eating pizza is better than eating shit convergence. Why that is not the same as the convergence on killing is bad, which I quite literally already proved. But wait, there is no worry. I'll explain for the 4th time. Don't you worry. So we already have more biological data, right? Already more relevant data when it comes to how eating shit affects you than in a way what we have for eating pizza, right? So obviously that's something is gonna be way different than the claim that I'm making. It's on you, yeah, Shinra, you, not C, not Yanni, not Theoretical Toxic, not Archie, not Eric, not Flash, you to prove,
Shut up,
right,
man.
that it is true that it's the same convergence as eating pizza is better than eating shit, or chocolate ice cream is better than I don't know, vanilla ice cream, then moon existing. It's on you to prove that, right? That's number 1. I already explained how convergence leads to more probability, so I really don't want to do that again. As for the 3, what you did was just send me C's paper. By the way, if we read from who I sent, you're gonna see Buman, Sargis, right? Linda J. I don't know if I can pronounce his name, but Linda J. Skitka. All of them are known philosophers. See, I love you from the bottom of my heart, and I would really want to see you debate these guys, but I don't think your paper is gonna be better than mine. I am so sorry. See, I love you, but bro, this motherfucker sent me a paper 800 pages long just to tell me to cease, bro. I'm not reading all that, bro. But the reason, again, I want you to tell me how C is a more reliable source than literal philosophers. And 2, did you even read the? Oh, did you even read? I'm so shocked. That's why I'm stuttering. Did you even read the line here? Like this bold text. It's like 20. It's like the font is 20. Like you can see it. It's even in bold. Moral conviction. Another contributor to added strength or something more. And you didn't even scroll down. Like I think it takes you like 3 or 4 scrolls. It's not even that long. That's why I sent it. And the other one is the same. It literally talks about why people not only feel that way, but do people feel that way. Like holy shit, that this is so sad. Oh my god. I'm wasting my time. Like after this, we literally just can't conclude, bro. Like genuinely, you suck. I don't know, like why the fuck you were piping up so much.
So
Also, just a reminder, we're approaching 40 minutes or 45.
Yeah, so 22:28 he started speaking. 22:31 he stopped speaking. Now, if we put that in the calculator, right, we can just do 31 minus 28 because I failed math. That's an entire
Yeah, you
3 minutes
cannot,
worth
buddy.
of speaking time. Shut your mouth. Right. That's an entire 3 minutes worth of speaking time. Now, I'm just going to ask you one. You said that, oh, well, we can explain the convergence because there's some scientific facts that people have whenever they react to being eating shit. It's like, okay, well, there's also some scientific fact that we can point to that arises whenever people see things that happen whenever they think is wrong. Like if I murder somebody, everyone's gonna feel bad because that's how we've evolved, you know? Like it's literally just the standard evolutionary debunking. All of these motions can be explained by evolution, you know. Like obviously operating in groups is more conducive for our survival, right? Killing people is not. Therefore, we're like likely to shun people who show those traits, right? Thus killing off the people who have these traits that they exhibit of being more likely to kill people. And the other thing you sent is like, look, all of these philosophers you're naming, Linda. I'll ask you this: is Linda on any debate tier lists? Has Linda beating Archie? Has Linda had any debate Rex with Eric? Right? Has Linda debated theoretical toxic? I don't think Linda's. Look at C. C has a way better debate resume. C's beaten T Jump. C's been Archie. He slayed Toxic. This guy just hasn't lost, right? So since he has a better resume, I'd say that he's a more competent philosopher. You could arrest the argument. If,
Yeah, bro. I don't see Socrates on the tier list, man. Like L downscale, bro. Like L upscale for my nigga, bro. Like yo, Socrates and Plato, bro. Like them niggas are really tier 7, bro. I really don't see them on any tier list, bro. Like, bro, genuinely, like Socrates, bro. No. Socrates, you're losing to C, by the way, bro. It's really just so unfortunate, but yeah, so that gibberish is out of the way. Prove that I have scientific evidence for moral claims. Prove that. You literally thought I would forget about that. Prove that. Prove that you have scientific evidence for moral claims, that you have more of that scientific and epistemological data. Prove that, right? And after you're done with that, we can literally conclude, because you made the worst claim of all time, right? You blunder so hard. You said that there is scientific proof for why something is bad. Prove that, and on my life, you cannot prove that.
hold on, that wasn't the claim. The claim was that there's people.
That was the claim. That was the claim. Archie, can't beat this guy's ass. That was the claim. That was the claim. Beat this guy's ass. That was the claim.
Wait, relax, please.
Anyways, look, the claim was specifically that typically whenever people display traits that we have wide consensus are actually immoral, that they actually exhibit behaviors which are not conducive for general human survival. Now, if you look at killing, for example, if I decided to kill people who look at me the wrong way, like for example, Mercury. Now, let me give you a bit of backstory about Mercury. Mercury has 2 girlfriends, not one, no, 3, sorry, not one, not 2, but 3 girlfriends. Now, if you really think about it, if that is not the embodiment of greed, I don't know what is. If I decided to kill Mercury simply because he has 3 girlfriends and, Rizhan doesn't have any, that's why I left Discord. Now, that's a bad precedent.
Rizhan has a girlfriend, by the way.
Okay, shut your mouth. But I would say that's okay. Anyone, right, who, what's it called? Anyone, who displays traits that I don't like, I can kill them. Right.
Unfortunately, I do have to abruptly go because I have people I'm expecting over. But currently, I think Shinra is winning. As far as the points of whether you can account for the evidence for this moral convergence, and as far as well, if you can account for the evidence that people actually would specify that they're just referring to their opinions rather than anything else, and that people don't do these same things with moral statements.
Well,
that's just my statement for now. Goodbye.
Yeah, but Free, it's like, look, you need Free, you're in the goat right now. But as I was saying before, just like if I decided to kill Mercury because he has traits that I don't like, then it would set a precedent that people can kill anyone because they display traits that they don't like, which would generally be less conducive for human survival because there's more killing, right? And we won't survive if there's people are killing each other, like, obviously, because that would also not promote human cooperation. But again, that's already just one piece of evidence, and you have zeros. I win. And we can also use Moose as an analogy, right? And Sakazuki. Now, you see, if we simply just allowed Sakazuki to go about and start killing people because they said he lost to Draco, right? That wouldn't be conducive for human survival because people are less likely to cooperate with Sakazuki, knowing that he'd brutally murder them if they said he lost to Draco. Right? That's also part of the reason why Skypiea died. Right? So there's also just like very blatant evidence on that front. And yeah, you just need to respond to the argument. We have a real life case in Skypiea, and we have Moose. So
Yeah, just so we are perfectly clear, this guy, the reason why he ran from the claim that you can prove moral claims scientifically is because he knows he blundered, right? Just so we are perfectly clear. He blunders so hard on that he cannot actually engage with it, right? So what we're going to do, right? I'm just going to ask you two simple questions. One, what is going to be, hold on. Can somebody mute the monkey, please?
What's gonna be?
Hello? Yo, Moose, mute the monkey, bro.
Look, man, I'll come in, I'll step in, I'll be the moderator. All right.
Yeah, whoever has perms, bro, just mute Shinra, bro. I was muted when I went. Yeah, thank you so much. But yeah, basically, the first question is, what more relevant data do you have, or more evidence that do you have for moral claims that makes this convergence so unlikely to be under stance-independent domain that you can actually use it? Two, right? How is Sakazuki analogy of any relevance, and like the girlfriend analogy of any relevance to what I was talking about? Obviously, you're trolling, obviously because you're losing, right? But I just want to know, why are you saying things that are completely relevant to the debate? At least look like you're trying to win, and stop with the rhetoric bullshit, bro. Please, bro. You're just like losing horribly right now. But we have perms, you can unmute yourself. But I know you're retarded for that as well. Fuck is nigga playing?
Anyways, sorry, I had to play my intro music before I gave my response. But look, none of those burdens are on me, and I explained why the analogy is relevant whenever I was giving it. So maybe you should just beg me like a good little boy you are. Look at you, right? You should just beg me to repeat the analogy, right? And maybe I'll do it. But this my response. But it's also in Arabic, so respond if you can. Okay, give a response.
Okay, so I'm gonna disregard the analogy you gave because obviously you weren't able to explain how it was relevant. So the thing to engage with the first thing you said, right, was, again, you still haven't given me the scientific evidence. You still haven't given me the thing which makes this so unlikely, even though I have such a convergence. So those two things are obviously going to be disregarded. Press the conclusions. Do you want to conclude?
Yeah, it's pre-fight citation, buddy. But yeah, we can conclude.
Okay, so do you want to go first? I'm gonna take a minute though.
Go.
Are you dumb? Can you answer any of my questions? Wait, do you just dodge every single one of my questions? Can you like answer anything that I tell you? Dog, you're so fucking pathetic, bro. Please just answer just one of my questions. Wait, how many questions of yours do you have to answer for you to engage with one of mine? How many? I'll answer no matter amount of questions just for you to engage with one of mine. I'll answer it because I'm so charitable to you right now. Okay, so he has brain damage. Okay, so since this guy isn't able to conclude, I'll just conclude. Because he got a brain damage. Somebody hit him in the head, right? So my conclusion is just gonna be he wasn't able to explain the relevant data. I already explained how this rises the probability of a. Yeah, somebody mute the monkey, please. Thank you. Thank you so much. Such a kind request was answered. But yeah, anyways, when it comes to my hypotheses and why this would exist under a stance independent domain and why is it more probable to be the case, right? Obviously, I explained the posterior probability and I explained how this probability rises that you haven't attacked, right? I explained the mass convergence. I explained why this would be the case. Given the evidence, right, that I needed to give, right? You didn't say that this was empirical. Anyways, you didn't attack the empirical evidence at all because you said, well, from the first page, right? From the first page, I just think this is a paper, but you haven't seen the explanation. You haven't seen anything that was written on there, right? So the thing that
I guess I don't got much else.
Anyways, please don't sing Yeet ever again. Can somebody mute this guy?
I began here this time. I'm 6 pounds on that bluff. I think you can hit this high. How to get rid of this one? You know, we got $50. You really miss me, huh? And that should feel good for.
Can somebody mute this guy, please?
Yeah, exactly. I don't know what I'm talking about. That's it, by the way.
Can somebody make this guy stop talking while I give the conclusion? God damn.
I ain't gonna say bless.
Yeah, that's Ian. I know it's Ian, but at first, because I don't know this guy always sings Yeet, he's for some reason so obsessed with this guy. But yeah.